Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is create your ideal life. Well, the way you create your ideal life is you have to spend plenty of time determining what it is. You have to know it, understand yourself. That's why I always am talking about going to the coffee shop with my pad and my pen and my other reference books and some of my notes from the years past, and spending as many hours as it takes to kind of figure out what my ideal life is. And this, for me, it hasn't turned out to be this one-time thing. I've had to do this many times, and as I'm doing this over the years, I'm kind of tweaking and refining that ideal life. The writing about yourself, journaling, taking notes, keeping track of your thoughts is critical to creating your ideal life. How do you know what it is unless you spend enough time thinking about it? And the way you best think is with a pad and a pen. I just don't think there's any other way that is going to give you as much success as that. Maybe I'm an old-fashioned, but I just think if you don't spend time writing about your life, and you have no clue about what your ideal life is, and you're just expecting it to pop out at you, I think you're just fooling yourself. I think you'll find that you want to spend as much time as possible thinking about what your ideal life is, and I would recommend you write it also. Maybe some people are good at just kind of remembering it, or they've kind of stumbled upon their ideal life by happenstance, but I think for most of us, we don't have the ability to remember all these details, and we haven't stumbled upon our ideal life by happenstance. We've stumbled into a life that we really don't like. And now we're looking at, well, how do I get out of all of this? Well, that's what happened to me. I had stumbled upon an ideal life back when I was a younger man. I was living this pretty cool life at the time, and I didn't really even realize it. I didn't know that I was already living the life that I've always wanted. And I went ahead and went back to the normal way of doing things, with the wife and the kids in the house and all of that, and that's, my life kind of fell apart. Well, I didn't have my ideal life firmly implanted in my mind or on paper like I do now. So now it's going to be pretty tough for me not to continue having the ideal life I have and making the improvements that I want to make it even more ideal. So give that idea some thought. Create your ideal life. In order to start doing that, though, you've got to know what it is. You got to spend enough time, enough energy, and enough effort working through what would make your ideal life, and having enough conviction in this that you're not going to let anything or anyone push you away from it. Because that's what happens with most of us, is we may have stumbled upon a fairly ideal life for ourselves, and then we'll let somebody else kind of push us away from it, and then we wake up one day and our life is as far from ideal as it can be. You're bending over backwards doing things you have no desire to do and no real reason to do it other than you've been pushed into it, which is kind of the story of most men's lives, married men's lives, is they have no life, and they're just kind of going through the motions of a life, doing things for other people, and not really enjoying themselves, and not really having that ideal life. So you have to spend enough time figuring out what your ideal life is, and then put in the effort and the energy to make it so, and then don't let anybody push you off of that ideal life, your ideal life idea. And people are going to be very eager to push you away from your ideal life if your ideal life is in, let's say, conflict or in opposition to what somebody else thinks is the ideal life. I think you know what I mean, but let's say if you're a single man, everyone will be kind of pushing you to get married and start having a normal, what they would consider the normal ideal life of a married, children, house, responsibilities, commitments, with no real time for you to do what you'd like to do, and even if you have a bit of time, there's no money for you to do what you would like to do. So give that idea some thought. It's a lot of people are going to resist what you would consider an ideal life. They're going to say that's not really a good life, even though it really is. Being a single guy, not married, not taking care of a woman is so much easier and so much better and so much more satisfying that you will hardly believe the difference if you can make it that way, make that your ideal life. So give that idea some thought. This is going to take some considerable soul searching on your part and some considerable wondering about the rest of the world and what they're pushing you into. All for now.